I'm going to give this podcast a title and go, you miss the shots you don't take. You know, people might see my success, but these are the people that are very much driving that level of success, which is internally. For those that don't know, Lauren Chapple, who is one of my loan strategists in my team as well. One thing you have done very well is make decisions and move forward and move the needle on your portfolio as well.
We're very negatively cash flowed at the moment, Chris and I. You're allocating $1,000 a week sometimes to these properties.
To double your property value, they say it takes 7 to 10 years. You've done it in 3.
It's almost doubled. It's worth nearly $850 now.
It's crazy. 3 years, it's not even a full cycle. 3 years, or you could do something about it. G'day everyone, I'm pumped to bring you this episode. If I had a title for it, I'm gonna already give this podcast a title and go, you miss the shots you don't take. And you're nodding already. For those that don't know, Lauren Chapple, who is one of my loan strategists in my team as well. Our paths, if I go back, it's kind of a great story. We were at Sam Gordon's summit a while back. You came up, you introduced yourself, and that's where it all started.
The rest is history.
It is. And now you're sitting here.
Yes.
So let me take you through what's happened. Lauren mentioned, she's investing. I think it's that stage you said that you'd maybe checked out a few episodes of the podcast, so you got a feel for what we're about. And then I said, look, very interested to have a chat. We caught up for lunch. I'm going to think Toddy's in the city. Do we go?
Yeah, so good.
Yep.
Italian
Yep.
pasta.
Great
so
spot.
Good.
And that's pretty much how we like to roll here, which is I think you're a good person. We had a really good catch up. And let me just talk about the strength and testament to character. You're living on the Central Coast at that point. I said, Lauren, for me to work with any good team members and try and get the best out of you and get the best out of me, I need you in my office. And yeah, we're based down South Coast. I don't think you even flinched. I think at that point you said, right, I'll pack my bags and I'll move down. I was like, whoa, if you're willing to do that, I'm going to be willing to do anything for you. And I say when you've been only in our business for 6 months, that's crazy because it feels like you've been here for way longer. Yeah. So this is a chat for anyone listening. I always like talking to bringing our team members because they're the ones that generally make me look good or Damien look good as well. But it's showing you they're like everyone else. They've got their own fears, their own insecurities, their own investing story and journey. But you get to hear from someone else as well going, oh yeah, I can empathize or I can understand where that person's coming from. That sounds a bit like me. You're young, you're in a relationship, for example. But one thing you have done very well is make decisions and move forward and move the needle on your portfolio as well. That's something that I really respect about you as well, that you go, yeah, I can agonize on this decision, but it's not going to help me move forward. Making an educated decision around how you're going to grow and scale your portfolio. And you've had all the challenges that come with buying and building property, which is, do we buy our own home? What does the future look like, for example? But I think having access to what we do here internally has probably given you a bit of a, you call it a game changer. Give you an unfair advantage to go, you can run your own numbers, but you came in with a little bit of experience. But what I've seen is you've blossomed in the last 6 months as well. So guys, girls, I really hope you enjoy this episode because this, I feel, is going to be one of you. Like Lauren's story is literally, as a listener of the podcast, to now being one of our team members. That's a massive leap. And I just want to hand over to you and say, first of all, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Not at all. And yeah, for anyone listening, a little bit about your personal story, if you can share and indulge.
Yeah, so must say this is pretty surreal. Being on this podcast, having listened for probably a couple of years now.
Oh, I get goosebumps when I hear something like that, honestly.
Crazy. So yeah, that first of all, that's sort of pretty exciting for me.
It's exciting for me.
Yeah. So as you said, I grew up on the Central Coast. Pretty normal upbringing, family being mum and dad and my brother. Just normal upbringing. Primary school, went to high school, loved school. It's a bit of a nerd like that. Loved high school.
Nerd translates to being very good at your job as well.
Oh, hopefully. And straight out of school went into uni. Tried a few uni degrees. Just was looking for something that I felt was the right fit for me, something that I loved, something I enjoyed going to work every day. So I thought, I'll try exercise and sports science. I tried meteorology. I tried primary school teaching, a few different things. Nothing.
Police force.
Police force. I was up to that. My goodness. Nothing stuck at that point.
Yeah.
It was just sort of, going through the motions a little bit. All in the background, doing my own research with property investing. Property. I had an interest in property. Always had an interest with money, always a hard saver. I don't know if that's maybe something my parents instilled in me, but just that was always a conversation in the house, like save a certain amount of your income. It was never pushed on us, but it was just sort of a conversation. So in hindsight, maybe all along I knew I should have been in this industry, but because I would spend my spare time downloading the Terry Ryder
good one.
PDF books and just sifting through those and where should I buy? Where should I buy? And
did you grow up with parents in property
investing?
as well?
Mum and dad bought an investment property 10 minutes from our house.
Yeah.
Back then properties were pretty cheap up on the coast, I would say. Maybe that's I don't think buyer's agents were probably a thing back then, 15 years ago.
I'd say there'd be like 2 buyers agents, I reckon, that have been around for that long.
Yeah, true that. Yeah. So that was something they definitely did themselves. And then they put a granny flat on the back.
Okay.
I wouldn't say we talked about that much. It was just something that happened that I knew about. But I never really asked too many questions. So there was always that sort of going on. And at that time, in between all of this, I went over to Canada for a little while, lived over there, worked overseas for a bit, and that's where I met my partner, Chris.
Yeah. You went to Canada to meet an Aussie.
Yeah, go figure. I think Mum was
very
really
typical.
Happy with that. Don't meet a Canadian, never come back. He's from Melbourne, so a little bit closer, but so he moved up. We sort of rented for a bit, dabbled in the idea of purchasing something up on the coast. At the time I was at uni, didn't really have like a solid income, not enough to service something to buy up there. We did the whole, renting, living with parents for a bit. And at that point we thought, if we can't buy something to move into, I said, let's just buy an investment property. And that's when, did all the research, the PDFs, and listened to heaps of podcasts like yourself, who else was I listening? I think Simon Liu. He really spoke to me in these podcasts, and reached out and got our first property, Chris and I, through him. In Ipswich area. So this was maybe 2022, Jan 2022, I think. So that was one, and we sort of were happy with that. We sat on it for a couple of years, really, until almost starting working here. Maybe 6 months prior to starting to work here.
Because prior to starting, you obviously had some industry experience, so you're working in a broker's office. That probably, again, where you translate your interest in finance, property, for example. So coming in, probably very entry-level role at that point, right? Into niche broking. So you got a good feel for it. And then you progressed with your career in broking. I think you came to us with maybe like 12, 18 months worth of experience.
I think 18 months at that point.
Yeah. And people then going, well, hang on, what is this? What is it? You miss the shots you don't take.
Yeah.
So that conversation that happened was pretty much you just reaching out, going, I'd love to talk about something in the future.
So I think that meeting at the APS Summit, I'm not very woo-woo or like, things happen for a reason. You and Bernie, but it was such Bernie woo-woo, but I believe it now, I tell you. That was a complete, I think, meant to be. And I think initially we were like, can you look at our portfolio and what we want to do? We wanted to grow our portfolio. And at that point we just hadn't spoken to, I wasn't working with, I guess, brokers that were investor focused and looking to grow portfolios. So that's when I think, I was really keen to work with you on with our personal things. And then, I just said to Chris, I'm going to see if they need anyone. I'll move. It's not a game changer. Let's do it. And that's when that, sort of happened.
That's when it started happening.
Yeah.
And that's what I said. Look, for anyone that reaches, I love that. You talk about woo-woo and energy. When anyone reaches out, I think that's probably, again, an ethos or value that we have internally, right? When you see it, people reach out like, mate, yes, we're here to help. And so when someone says, I'd love to have talk about career, you probably see it. There's brokers that come into our office. So peer-to-peer learning becomes important for me. I feel like I'm always a student, and I love that. I love when people have that same ethos about them. We're always learners, lifelong learners. And if someone's willing to put yourself out there like you did, and then go, right, if the answer is no, at least you scratch the itch, you wouldn't die wandering. I think that's a wonderful trait. But then I think of the next thing, what defines someone is what happens next. So talk is cheap. Oh, yeah, I want to do something. Okay, great. I think you and I jumped on a course like, right, let's meet up in the city. Ben and I will come, and it's lunch, not a formal interview. Because I think what happens is you may have some baseline knowledge, but you will see it when we get here, when you get in here, that's going to serve you only for a little bit. It's everything that's below the surface that you need to focus on. Like tip of the iceberg is what you've done. No LVRs, no a few lenders, but it's everything that sits below the surface as an investor. How to structure loans, which banks to go to, how to strip the equity, how to buy through a trust, how to buy through a self-managed super fund. What happens if they're self-employed? And I think you probably came in, I can't tell you how you felt, but I almost felt like you knew that you were in the deep end. And there's like anything in life, there's people that swim and there's people that will sink. But I definitely feel like you were there to swim. And you made the massive commitment to uproot your life and your two dogs, your beautiful dogs, move down here. And at that point, I knew you were genuinely committed to the cause. Yeah. And that's what commitment looks like. Not I'll just dabble and see if this works. For example, it's like, I'm going all in, and if it doesn't work, then at least I've tried it. But if it works, it's going to come off in a spectacular way.
100%. I think, things, especially in this property investing journey, I knew that this is some of the best learning and the best people to be around in the industry. And I knew in terms of not what I was getting myself into, but I knew that I needed to make some moves, literally move down here, because I knew that I would be learning from the best of the best. It would help me grow immensely, and it's paid off. I'm so happy that I did it. It's been amazing.
And when you say best of the best, it's like that's not just this team, but it's also being around some of the best buyers agents in the country, some of the best like SMSF professionals, some of the best financial advisors that we've had come in, for example. And so you're getting a feel for like what's everyone's role, who has a seat at the table, the accountants, for example. And you get to see it. There's some awesome professionals, and then there's some not. And I think that's probably something that's maybe dawned on you, which is once you see, it's like the Wizard of Oz, once you go behind the scenes, you actually see how this thing works. And I'm not sure if the illusion went away for you or something. At that point, be like,
not everyone knows what they're talking about.
Correct.
It's like, you just assume particularly these other professionals that we work with, like we have to know a lot of their job too, to know if what they're telling us is correct in terms of structuring, or just, there's a client we're dealing with at the moment and we're just like, that doesn't sound right. And it's
that's
just
coming from the accountant.
That's right.
The accountant's asking us the question that we should be asking the accountant.
Yeah, exactly.
And so why are you flicking this? That's a tax question through and through, for example, or a structure on their entities. And it feels like we're entering tax advice domain, which we don't do. But it's like we know the answer and we know what we're doing and why we're doing it. So I think like you've really cottoned on to that, going, there's accountants and then there's great accountants, there's brokers and there's strategic brokers, there's buyers agents and then there's weapon buyers agents, for example. There's conveyancers and there's ones that actually know what they're doing as well and really responsive. And that's something that only really happens once you go into the inner sanctum broking as
Completely.
well. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's probably something I want to ask you, which is, I don't think I've really asked you this, is coming outside as a call it an investor, and then coming into the inner sanctum of mortgage broking and what we do. What's been your perceptions beforehand, and what's the actual reality that people may not realize about what goes into mortgage broking?
Oh, I mean, to be honest, so we got our first loan through a sort of a local brokerage on the coast. Um, and when the broker was coming back with all these questions after the application had been lodged, why are they asking all these? I didn't realize that the broker was sort of, and I don't know why I didn't realize this, but the go between, like the bank will pick up on a lot of things maybe that the broker, if they're not great, hasn't picked up on. So that's sort of that go between. And I would think, gosh, they don't know what they're talking about, but banks do pick up on things that maybe brokers miss, or there's policy that is new, that policy changes within a second. The policy can change overnight. So,
which will probably surprise people listening, going,
yeah.
you're talking about the bank lends money and you tick some boxes but give me my money. But you and I know that we're jumping through hoops, and the goalposts continue to move from banks, and sometimes they give us notice and sometimes they don't give us very much notice. And the only time we do find out when policies change is when we actually go back to that bank.
Exactly. As well. So brokers are advocating on your behalf. We submit an application. The bank's trying to pick it apart. They're trying to find every reason to maybe not approve the deal. We're trying to find every reason to approve a deal. So, I didn't realize maybe the back and forth that can happen. But it's quite normal. Like, our aim is for one touch approvals. That's, we aim for that.
Which you're pretty good at, by the way. Yeah.
Try to be.
Yeah.
Just to check the checklist.
Yeah, great. Good.
So probably didn't realize the back and forth that can happen. Which now I see it's fine. Things happen. But also the working here, the complexity of deals we're doing here compared to maybe what I was doing. Chalk and cheese.
Okay. What does that mean for people? Like, obviously, complexity means something to different people. What has been your experience in terms of what does complex look like? Because you probably hear our intro calls and people are like, my situation's hard, and you're hearing that guy, man, that's a walk in the park, that one.
Yeah, I guess complex can be subjective, can't it? We are dealing with clients that want to build their portfolios. You hear numbers 8, 10, 12 properties plus, or the 200K passive net passive income. Dealing with clients that maybe have multiple self-employed. I think we did one recently. I sort of was working on one recently that there were 3 sort of income streams, self-employed, following funds between different entities, trust structuring. What lenders do we put with what trust? How do we stack them? There's a reason we stack them in certain orders. We don't just throw lender options out there. There's a reason behind everything we do. And I've definitely learnt that from working here. And just people wanting to grow their portfolios, and that can come down to servicing issues, cash flow issues, navigating that, having a discussion with the client. Like, yes, you want to grow your portfolio to 10, and they're gung-ho, they're listening to podcasts, they're educating themselves, but have you thought about that cash flow?
Yeah.
We're very negatively cash flowed at the moment, Chris and I. And it's hard because you're allocating 1,000 a week sometimes to these properties.
So if you're negative 1,000 and you're over the year, it's 52, grand.
A lot of money.
You need those properties to be doing some decent lifting for you to kind of come out net ahead as well. You mentioned about your portfolio. So what does that look like when you originally started versus maybe where you are now?
Yeah. So our first property in Ipswich, we bought that for 445, 4-bed, 2-bath on a nearly an 800 square block.
That's
so pretty
good.
Yeah, not
really
bad.
Good.
Yeah, we went up and did a bit of work on it when we
Excellent.
first bought it.
Yeah.
So yeah, drove up in the ute, like drove up, went to Bunnings, got some mulch, cut a tree down. What else? Just little things, like not a lot, just a little. We're up.
Well, you have to say you're a DIY. Yeah.
It probably would have been cheaper to just get someone in and do it, but we were excited. It was the first one.
And you guys are pretty handy as well.
Yeah, Chris is a chippy. He can sort of do some things. So yeah, just tidied it up a little bit. So that was just over 3 years now, 3.5 years, I think, and it's almost doubled. It's worth nearly 850 now.
That's crazy.
So when you think of that negative cash flow, yes, day to day, it can be hard, but
so if you're listening, it's like and when we do our loan strategies and we present numbers, and it's like here's how much the difference in your cash flow is, and we present that number back to someone, they won't see the gain. I mean, to double your portfolio property value, they say it takes 7 to 10 years. You've done that in 3. So obviously that's well bought. Great timing as well. Shout out to Simon. Good location as well. So you go, I'm happy because you've seen that, you've realized the gain. So it's like, well, we could never have saved that much money in those 3 years. You literally could not have saved that much money. And then, you think about what that does. Let's say, for example, you decide to cash out of that market. Well, yes, you pay your capital gains tax and you move out, but that becomes like the deposit that if you ever decide to buy your own home, mate, that's savings that didn't exist.
Exactly. And then since then, I mean, we obviously had a lot of equity at that point. So we thought, let's go again. Pulled out some equity, went up north, up in the Northern Territory for the second one. That only settled. We're in a queue for a while with a BA. Got there eventually. That settled in not long ago, a couple of months ago. So there was that big gap between, the Ipswich one and then our second one. And then we bought a third in Victoria.
Yeah, great.
And that only settled, I think, maybe a month or 2 after the Darwin one.
Okay. So up to 3.
3, and then we got a block of land, but that's just,
don't discount it. It's not just a block of land. It's in there doing its little bit of
doing its thing.
So when you think about the great Australian dream for you guys, I know it's rude to ask a lady her age, so I'll say under 30, for example, and yourself and Chris. So you take and you guys are good income earners. You won't say like astronomical, but healthy incomes, right? Healthy incomes. Double income, no kids under 30, and see 4 properties across Australia. When people went on the Daily Mail, and I see this, just because I get sent these links, going, I'll never be able to get into the property market. And he got an Australian couple with 4 properties under their belt. You could cash those all in, and you can go and buy. You have a pretty decent sized deposit to go and buy your own home. That's what, in the space of, we said 2022, and we're at 2025. That's 3 years. So you can bitch and moan for 3 years about the property market, or you could do something about it. That to me, like, if you need a billboard, and we often speak about this internally, people with mortgages do a very bad job of selling mortgages to other people. They'll go, man, you got to eat noodles now. I can't travel anymore. It's going to limit my lifestyle. The bank owns me. They do such bad jobs of talking about their debt that it's almost like they love to, I don't know if it's a humble brag or whatever it's going to be. It's like, well, woe is me for getting a mortgage. Whereas if you can talk about it becoming an asset that increases in value like all assets do. I wish everyone complained about their car loans the way they did about mortgages, because we'd stop getting car loans. But the amount of times that I talk to people, I'm like, what are you talking about? This is debt for growth. And they think it's like some type of like sales line. I'm like some snake oil salesperson. Like literally, here is someone that your own initiative has helped you grow your portfolio. And here you are now 3 years, it's not even a full cycle, 3 years, honest about losing net income could sell those properties, clear some debt, for example, or get a deposit for your own owner occupied, mate, find me drive a truck through this strategy. It would be my suggestion to anyone going, how could you rag on a couple that's under 30 that have taken some massive action? So it's kudos to you guys. I get so proud when I think about what you guys have done. And it's only just the beginning.
Yeah.
And that's the part that I really feel like on our watch, and you see, we do it for clients, and how many times I say it to the team, I'm like, if we're doing it for clients, we've got to be doing it for ourselves as well.
Yeah.
Right? So you guys know, I'll talk about when I'm buying, that's got to be common vernacular within the team going, we're all buying. What are you looking to do next? Because it's so close to, it's our day job.
It is.
So it's so close to home.
It is. And when it comes to, it's funny, like when we did the Darwin property and the Victorian property, every time I was like, I've got to do my pre-approval. I don't want to.
Your document sat there for how long? I'm waiting for you guys to sign docs.
Just when it comes to your own stuff, you just, I guess it's like, I don't know, chefs don't want to cook their own dinner and builders don't want to reno their own house. I feel the same. I'm like, I don't want to do my own loans. Damien can do it next time. Please.
Someone else will be motivated, right?
Yeah,
You probably you probably need to get done. You're lacking the motivation. It's too close to home. But it's like, I just need someone that could go put this on your desk. Give me the outcome that I'm looking for, which is give me the equity strips. Give me the way to keep buying properties, for example. But I mean, if you sat here 3 years ago and someone said to you, mate, you're going to move down the coast and then you're going to have, a 4 property portfolio. No way. Okay. That's your words.
Yep. No, wouldn't have even thought it. Wouldn't. Yeah. I didn't think it was possible at all. And don't get me wrong. It's hard. And you make sacrifice. Like, I think sometimes we speak to clients, it's not a given right to be able to do this. You've got to sacrifice things. Chris is FIFO. He's here half the year. We've moved our whole lives to be in a role that, enough said. It's like, you've got to sacrifice things to get the rewards, and it's not just a right to be able to do these things.
Yeah, I'm glad you said it because, people won't see the inner workings of you guys as a couple. You're right. Chrissy's FIFO, for example, so he's not close. You do some pretty decent hours as well, as do the whole team. But you 6 months in and you've never clock watched. And I think that's what we've said, which is incomes are directly correlated to ability to solve problems. So to solve bigger problems, you get paid more. And so, Chris is paid for solving some pretty decent problems. In a mine, that's what he does. And then for your income, I think you will see that continue to increase in its trajectory because you're now taking on bigger problems, you're solving more problems as well, which is fantastic. And off the back of that, more income then means better borrowing capacity, ability to get in there and scale your portfolio. Now, the crossroads of buying your own home versus still rent vesting, for example, how has that arm wrestle been for you guys? Have you guys had a yearning or ability to put down roots, or is this something where we're going, no, we've got a very clear plan and nothing's going to take us off track?
No, we've definitely dabbled on and off with the idea. I think maybe what's made it not so much, renting has just been by default what we're doing. Chris is from Melbourne. I'm from the Central Coast. We're now living in Wollongong. We don't really, nowhere's really home for us, and it never really has been. I know the Central Coast isn't Chris's home. This isn't our home yet.
Correct.
Melbourne isn't my home. So we've sort of not had that. A lot of my friends are with their partners are from the coast, and that's just by default where they live. It makes sense. Let's purchase. It is what it is. But we've sort of had that more. It hasn't really been like a big issue for us, like renting, because we don't feel like there's been a place yet that we can put our solid roots down. But absolutely, that's the goal one day. And that's why we're doing this investment journey. I think initially we were like, the net passive income, 100K net passive or whatever it was going to be. And I think you and Bernie have talked about it in the past. You guys are renting, you got pregnant with Sienna. And then it was like, we want our principal place of residence. We want the security. We want that feeling of being home. And yeah, we definitely want that one day, that home that we can call ours, but we're not in a rush.
Yeah. You guys are still young.
Yeah.
As young, I think
Yeah.
there's a real sweet spot that I think that you guys are in right now.
Yeah.
Keep your expenses as low as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you talk about that. Yeah, and you probably look at that bottom line. Do you manage the finances at home, or does Chris?
Yes.
You manage it?
Me.
So
Yeah.
you probably see like you're front and center of like managing the books at home, going, I can feel that negative cash loss of, call it $1,000 a week, which is nothing small.
No, yeah, it's not.
Right? It's $250 or a property, for
Yep.
example. But at some point you go, hey, we're playing a bigger game here, and that's part of the journey. We've got to give a little, but to win a lot back as well. So for anyone that's struggling with cash flow, what's been your ways to stay on top of it and still kind of still keep going on this journey?
I've always had, like, we've run a small business on the side as well. I've always got like little income streams. Sort of did some photography for a bit there, just for friends and family, and they sort of referred people, small businesses. We had our business called Get a Grip on the side that's
What does
been
that
running
do?
for 5 years. Four drive accessories.
Yeah, nice.
It's hard to explain, but yeah, that's sort of been helpful, just
Yeah.
ticking along on the weekends and stuff like that. So yeah, you're just constantly busy. But yeah, I think that's helped, but also just, yeah, like, I don't think I've gone shopping for clothes or anything for a while. I just think we've got other priorities. Yeah, I feel like we're just very strict with, Chris would love to spend money on his 4-wheel drive and put big wheels on it or whatever he wants to do, but we just know that we'll get there one day. We'll be able to do that.
Nicely said.
It's just, yeah, that short-term gratification, we're sort of holding off on that.
I agree. And
Yeah.
I like to think that we foster that even here, right? Mate, everyone's lunch is pretty modest. I'd say most people will grab something fairly modest for takeaway, or
Yep.
most people have their
Bring it.
lunches, bring it
Yep.
in. I think we try to foster that within the team, and being down in Woonona, it's not that we've got a mad selection like the CBD for lunch options, so that probably helps the cause as well.
Yeah.
But I see that within the team, everyone knows that their money's best spent.
Yep.
Meal prepping, coming to the office, everyone's pretty healthy. So I'd say you're like, even you like, you probably put that money into gym as opposed to being decadent about
Totally.
a night out or something like that, for example.
Yeah.
These are all just character traits that I'm like, look, I spoke earlier around, are people bad walking billboards? That's a good advertisement. There's a reality that comes with going, hey, a mortgage or mortgages on investment properties are costing me.
Yeah.
Yes, I've had to give a little bit, but I also know that I've gained a lot in capital growth. But I also know that I'm playing a bigger game as well. Because if you spend that money on, who doesn't love nice clothes?
Yeah.
But that fashion will change in 6-12 months' time. And,
Totally.
we don't need to be dressed up to the nines to come to the office either, which helps too.
No, and you just rotate the things you've got.
I agree.
Why not?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. So I guess the other big weapon that you have in your arsenal is you get to see heaps of portfolios. You mentioned about what you do day to day. So as a loan strategist, I'll have an initial call with a client. Say a lot of people listen to the podcast. They reach out, which is so awesome. We love it, right?
Yeah.
When people reach out the back of the potty and gives us a mad kick. And then their numbers, I'll usually go, okay, here's what we're looking to do from a portfolio perspective. And then you'll really pull things apart and put it back together as well. So what's some of the things that you've seen that maybe have even surprised you, or what you're seeing some really good investors do as well about how they've gone about building out a property portfolio?
So I think a lot of the good particularly one in mind in particular, as much as we're like, speed is momentum and keeping things moving, I think this one client I've got in mind is actually consulting with their accountant, BA, us as a team, and coming up with a strategy for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 properties. We're going steps ahead. We're not just doing the one, like the next purchase. We're actually, as a team, going across how we're going to get to, say, 5.
Yeah.
I think having the open-mindedness and that good relationship with the other advisors and us, and working all together, like these guys are going to smash it. I won't say the name, obviously.
We'd love to. We'd love to give them kudos. We'd love to give them kudos. Hopefully they're listening. We might drop them an email and say
this
we're mentioning you guys.
But
I've done that in the past with a few clients.
That's so nice.
But I think that's probably, again, off the back of that, that's probably where we see our really good investors. Like there's that team around them.
Yeah.
And one, the team are highly accountable. Two, the team are very aligned. Like no one's coming out of the top going, "Nah, you're wrong, we're right," for example. The client's smack bang in the center of that as well. And they've got some skin in the game, so they're driving it too. So we're all kind of moving in the same direction. But the first point they mentioned there is, but we're 2 or 3 steps ahead. And that's what they expect from us. I'd expect that from my broker going, yeah, but if we do this, then what happens for my next purchase or my next purchase, for example? And if you can't get that level of foresight, you can't get that level of strategy, that's where we usually talk about, hey, is that the time to vote with your feet? And how many times clients have come to us and you looked at their numbers, even very early on in your tenure here, I said, the clients are stuck, show me what we can do. And he said, actually, I think there's borrowing capacity here. And they speak to Nate, who's a wizard, and he's probably eking out even more borrowing capacity, right?
Gosh.
Or strategy. And so that's what this whole teamwork, and that's where I think broking is a team sport. I think far too many probably worked in, other broking offices where it's like an individual sport, whereas I think broking is very much a team sport. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And we talk about the different roles, offense and defense in a team, and having a role to play as well. And I think that's where people don't maybe underestimate what a broker does. Like, I thought you just research rates. It's like, well, hang on. 80% of your day is actually researching the way these loans are structured, for example, or what we call workshopping with banks. And so having really good relationships with banks means they understand what we're trying to do here. We know that they know we're giving this a real nudge, and they're going, yeah, but have a think about this and this, and this is how you can, submit the loan to a bank and get it approved this way as well.
Absolutely. I think there's been maybe 2 clients I've worked on so far working here that wanted the rate. And I've thought, oh gosh, I'm not used to this. We're just rate research, like getting it as low as possible. Yeah, every other client has been structure, outcome in terms of borrowing capacity. We don't even, we request a rate reduction with the lender, but that's not our priority. It's getting the job done, which is purchasing a property. And if the rate's a little bit higher, it is what it is.
Yeah, it's almost like if we had to tell people, spend your time on asset selection, not on loan selection.
Absolutely.
And if they put all that energy and effort into find the right property as opposed to find the right loan, geez, man, the property. If you went back, if I asked you what your rate was on that first property that you bought with Simon Lou, do you reckon you'd know? No.
Absolutely no idea.
So the rate becomes irrelevant after a certain time frame. At the time, it's like, this is our cash flow. We're wedded. It's got to be this rate, for example. I get it. I'm not being flippant. I understand it.
Yeah.
But at some point, you lose sight of the rate, and the whole perspective then shifts to the growth and the gain in that asset. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And for you and I, we know it. Like, you can chop and change the rate, the loan at any time. It's the property that you're buying. And how many times you'll hear me talk about, you're not buying loans, you're buying homes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think part of our role is to really drill that message into people, because the mortgage brokers have effectively earned their stripes by selling loans as opposed to being enablers to go and build a property portfolio. Yeah. Cool. So what does the future look like? If you said, here's where our ambitions that we're trying to get to, for example, what does that look like for you and Chris?
Oh, cash flow.
Yeah.
We're pretty strapped at the moment. So
someone listening going, but how do you then handle that? So I know we spoke a little bit about A4, but someone's like, but I feel like we're in a similar position where we looked at like, how do we handle negative cash flow?
Yeah. I think at that point you'd have to. I've always been I've always said to our BA, we're looking for growth. We don't care about the yield.
Okay.
Couldn't care less what the yield is. We want that growth corridor. We want that growth property. If we were to go again, we'd really actually have to consider the yield.
Yeah.
Which
But you think about it, you got growth in 3 properties because
yeah,
the land is no cash flow, right?
through that. Yep, exactly.
So you got 3 growth assets.
Mhm.
Yeah, probably time to temper that with a high
Yeah,
yielding asset that
yes,
may not have the same level of capital growth as what your first 3 did.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably a good way to even it out a little bit and assist with that cash flow.
Mm.
But other than that, sometimes do the conversation's been, do we sell one? Maybe the one that's done quite a bit of growth in Queensland and move on, use the profits from that and go elsewhere. But that's definitely just a conversation at the moment.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to kill the goose that lays the golden egg sometimes
So
as well.
it could keep going up. We just don't know.
Just don't
We don't
know.
have a crystal ball. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's part of the conversation sometimes we have, which is kind of, should I sell? It's like, okay, run the numbers, opportunity cost.
Yeah.
If it's done its job, it's done its job, for example. But yeah, there could be more growth.
More in the
Yeah,
tank. Yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
Cool. If someone's listening, like they're stuck, probably maybe
Mhm.
one property
Mhm.
and starting out, how do they get the confidence to keep going at this point? Like to go, hey, look, we're 4 deep.
Mhm.
What's some of the learnings and insights that you've had being on that journey?
I think repetition. Um, it's not as scary. I've got a friend going through it at the moment, buying her first investment property, and she's freaking out. And it's not. Once you do it a few times,
Mm,
it's just the paperwork flown in your app, and you just, as long as you got the cash flow there, it's just ticking away. You don't
yeah.
even notice it's happening.
What's she freaking out about?
Oh, I You know what? I haven't even asked her. I probably should ask her. What are you freaking out about?
Mm,
Um, I've just said it's all gonna be okay. I'm here to
yeah.
help you. I'll hold your
Sometimes they
hand.
just need to talk it out.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
experience share for you and your friend.
yeah.
Because there's usually a couple of things. One is market. So it's real
Mm,
macro, like,
mm.
well, hang on, you're not buying the whole Australian property market. You're buying one house in one street in one particular area, right? So
Yeah.
let's look at the asset, the actual dwelling you're buying, and then
Mm,
the location.
mhm.
Is it cash flow related? It's a bit like what you're saying, which is, hey, now I'm on my ass with noodles,
Yeah.
and this is going to cost me a fair bit. The other one is maybe tenant issues. So the
Mm,
fear of the unknown of having a tenant in there and like tenant damage or insurances or not paying rent.
mm,
That's something that feeds into that fear factor as well.
yeah.
Um, Bank rates. Look, what happens if banks increase loan
Mm.
rate interest rates? Well, then just go fixed. So
There's
what you try to
solutions.
do is you try to tease out all these fears, and you go, okay, what can we control?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm worried about cash flow. I'm worried about tenant issues. Okay, great. There's insurance for tenant issues.
Mhm.
Okay, I'm worried about rates rising. Okay, there's fixed rates for
Fixed.
that. Okay,
Mhm.
I'm worried about the property going down in value. All right, well, that's
That's
if
a
you do that, we're
we're
all
all
in that
stuffed.
boat, yeah.
Yeah.
Or you've bought the wrong asset now; it costs you a lot of money.
Mhm.
Okay, great. Let's have a repairs and maintenance contingency built in, baked in there as well.
Mm,
So if anyone purely
mm,
it's something you can take and run with your mate.
totally.
But anyone else listening and going, yeah, I'm wrestling with this, and it's like even some people get it their third. Like how many times we see it with their third,
Mm,
fourth, fifth purchase? It's like
mm.
somewhere they're still getting cold feet, or
Yeah.
something's become a bit of a handbrake. And it's like, how do we just loosen that handbrake?
Mm.
I hate when they call it in sales objection handling, because it just feels like you're trying to get them to buy it as opposed to. But if we can't actually diagnose where that fear is coming from, it's just going to keep
Keep
coming up
happening.
and coming up and coming up as
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
as opposed to, yep, this is all logical. Like you coming down here, taking a new career opportunity. What happens if it doesn't work?
Mm.
What happens if I sign the lease and now I got to move back? What happens if I don't like the team? What happens if the work's terrible? What happens if the guy that owns it's a nutcase, right? And it's like, well, how much can you mitigate, and how much is just, well, at this point, I've got to surrender,
That's what I did.
and this is happening.
Surrendered.
Yeah,
What will be, will be. And you just got to sometimes do that.
yeah. Which you got to take. You miss the shots you don't take. So your friend's going to miss the shots she doesn't take, and
Yes.
that's unfair to put your friend that. But just to say that's anyone. It could be not a
Mm.
friend; it's a colleague,
Any.
a client now as well. And we see it all the time where they just get stuck in this fear of making a decision.
Yeah.
That's where I generally say BA is worth worth the investment, because at this point, I haven't abdicated my decision. I have delegated it though, and you are a trained and paid professional.
Yes.
I'm paying you for this engagement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It avoids that analysis paralysis.
Well, you don't get time to think.
You don't. Yeah.
Because they send you the...
and you've got, 3 hours to say yes or no, and you're like, oh, okay. And if it's a BA you trust, it shouldn't be a hard decision. It's yes. It's
like, hey, would you buy this? They're like, yeah. All right,
okay.
cool. You've given it to me, and you're partly responsible because you're the one that have advocated for this purchase.
Totally.
Yeah.
But I think at that point, we see the difference between clients that use VAs and clients that don't.
Oh, I'm glad you said it, because I spoke about this with Damien.
Yeah, okay.
Spoke about this exact thing. Like, you tell me, because obviously people think I'm a little bit biased around it. But I mean, your test and control examples, people that use a BA versus don't. What do you see the DIY investors miss a trick on?
Oh, they're wanting to buy as cheap as possible, which means the asset, the house, has just major issues constantly. Pests and builds come back terribly.
Postcode restrictions with banks have come up because it's a cheap property, and banks don't love to,
in the middle of
cheap assets.
whoop, and no bank will lend against a security in that location. So and then LVR restrictions. If we're doing a 90% lend and that postcode's in 70%, well, where's that money coming from? That the buyer has to put into it. There's just a lot of issues we're seeing with self-sourcing. VA is definitely the go, I think.
And we got no horse in this race in terms of which BA a client uses.
No.
They'll ask us, I'm like, here's a good few recommendations. Here's either we've used personally, with clients we've used professionally, team have used them, family have used them, for example. So we've got some great recommendations, but we have no skin in that. We have no skin in who people use as a BA. But one thing we have got a lot of experience in is seeing how those properties get revalued.
Yes.
That becomes the biggest tell for us, which is how they stack up on a revalue. The ones that have increased in value versus the ones that have like really slow and they're plotted along. Yeah, staggered's probably a really, really good word. And I'd probably say a lot of our DIY investors have staggered. They've got fast stuck. And if you just, and I exactly laboured this point with Damien, which is if you just got over it and paid the 20 grand, you might be an extra property ahead.
Yes.
You might be another purchase deeper. And that to me is the growth in those assets. Yes, you're spending 20 grand, but you've made back so much more money. Like, you could never have, I don't know about that property with Simon, but you could never have gone to that location, found that asset, negotiated on it, done your due diligence, for example, and got it done in the time period that maybe he did.
No way. I mean, it was off market.
So you wouldn't even know that it existed. Yeah.
It was, I believe it was a divorce. They didn't want anyone in the neighborhood knowing that it was going on the market. We would have had no idea, and we wouldn't be in this position. So that in itself
paid for itself.
Tenfold.
Nice. Great. Well done. I know that you used to jump on with some of the accelerators as well. Something that I've really been trying to encourage a lot of people to jump into as well. We talk a lot about community as well, because a lot of our clients, it's a bit like, a bit like you. They got the blinkers on, for example. They can't see. You get to see the highlight reels of like, buyers agents when they post bought here, now it's worth this, and you don't get to actually talk to another investor and go, but actually, how did you do it, or what's the issue with that property, for example. Where that peer-to-peer learning becomes important. So this is a plug for the accelerator, but what have been some of the things you've seen come out of the accelerator as well? I
think, and I believe this is the case for a lot of the guys and girls that come on that accelerator group. A lot of us maybe don't have existing friendships in our community and things like that where we live that maybe are doing what we're doing. So it's just that chance to get on and we celebrate each other. We celebrate, it's a bit uncomfortable sometimes going to your friends, oh, we just bought our 4th property, and like you want to talk about it, but it can be very uncomfortable when they're sort of looking at you like, what? And
we're in a housing crisis, man. You're stealing properties of people that are trying to buy them.
And people, yeah, I'm lucky. None of my friends say that, but I can imagine a lot of them, you know, it can get a bit like that. So I think it's nice having that group where we come in once a month and we can all just just discuss where we're at, what we're doing, what our big dreams are and what our goals are. And no one sort of sits there and goes, oh, that's silly. That's a silly dream. That's a silly goal. Or we all like prop each other up.
I love it.
Yeah.
Has it dawned on you that if you got 2 more properties, you'd be in the top 1% of property investors in Australia?
No.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, that's wild. Just got to get there, hey?
Mate, correct. Correct. That to me, when I see that as an accomplishment for a lot of people,
cool.
I just go, mate, while the rest of Australians are moaning about property prices, and you've got a small little cohort of Australians that are going, I'm going to take matters into my own hands and not wait for a government handout or have expectations that my bank's going to like lend me the money. And it's like, I need to find ways to be resourceful and get the answers. I can't wait. Like, honestly, I think I'm always with the team going, I've got to be careful to not like feel like I'm pressuring everyone. Like, what do you do next?
Yeah, come on.
And I get excited like when I see team, crunching their own numbers.
Yeah, it's cool.
I'm like, that if we do it for clients, we've got to be damn sure we're doing it for our team. And then clients will feed off that energy going, oh, these guys are doing it. They know exactly how to build their own portfolios and they're doing it for other people as well. I want to be part of that. And Lauren, I want to say, man, you're a good egg, you got good head on your shoulders. I'm not saying this to pump you up in front of anyone. We say this in private as well. But that's what makes this place special, which is, hey, there's some really switched on humans. We know our technical stuff. We've seen enough to know how do we go about strategically building portfolios. But the most important part here is there's a level of empathy that, we're human like everyone else. I'm 2 kids deep, gone through childcare expenses, gone through all this stage. And it's like, anyone wants to know like that. I have empathy for that stage. You have empathy for double income, no kids, in a stage of renting, going on bleeding cash flow. But look at the growth. Yeah. And when I talk about growth, I'm like, personally, professionally, property, like you start to stack all that here. And as young people, I'm like, world your bloody oyster, mate. Honestly.
Yeah. It's been a journey and it's the plan is to continue the journey. So
I can't wait.
Yeah. It's been good so far.
Thank you, mate. I'm going to get you back on at some point. We're going to talk about, we might rip a portfolio apart at some point and talk about that. Once we get the new podcast studio built.
So excited.
I can't wait.
We'll get some numbers once these other ones grow a bit and we can go through that for sure.
Let's do it. Hey, look, if you love the chat, like I mentioned, Lauren is part of my pod over here at Atelier Wealth. So whenever, someone deals with myself, you generally talk to Lauren or Nate in my team as well. And these are very much the people that go behind, people might see my success, but these are the people that are very much driving that level of success, which is internally when we take people that are being told no by a broker, being told no by a banker, for example, and we turn that no into a yes, it's very much these humans that are part of that number crunching loan strategy stage, which delivers great outcomes for people like you that are listening as well. So if you've loved this chat, mate, love to hear from you guys. If you want to be part of the accelerator, reach out. But Loz, you want to say thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I'll talk to you next time, guys. Thanks.
Bye. Bye.